Hey everyone, we know it's been quite an intense couple of days, and we want you to know that we are still here for everyone, and we want to put out stuff that both educates and entertains, but we've been pretty conflicted about continuing any kind of show sponsorships, despite the fact that these deals were signed well in advance. So for the time being, we've made the decision to just halt our sponsorships while still being able to bring you a show. And in addition to that, if you've been following us on Twitter, you'll see that we've been making some donations over the past week or so. But in the wake of what we've seen play out over the past few days, we've gone ahead and just started a fundraiser for the Bail Project with the goal of $10,000. And we've kicked things off by donating $1,000 ourselves to the cause. The first thing in the description below and the pinned comment that you'll see are links to that so you can donate. Every dollar counts, and we hope that if you can spare the money right now, that you'll help contribute. So in lieu of anything else, $1, $5, whatever, we're kicking things off with $1,000. And
a lot of people are just sort of being rounded up like animals and thrown in jail, and without bail money, they're not getting out. So
did you read the thread of the guy who was rounded up for just driving after curfew and spent almost 12 hours without knowing anything that was going on?
The lovely curfew. The only reason we're even filming this here
they extended the curfew
is because they finally moved the curfew back to 9 p.m. instead of the last few days. It's been like you get like 3 alerts on your phone that are all conflicting information.
Yeah,
and a lot of people getting these like 25 minutes before they need to be home. And they're like, oh, if you have proof that you're going to
or from work.
They don't fucking care. Cops are like just anyone on the road, randomly cars. They're just picking them and being like, get out, and just beating the shit out of people, impounding their car, taking them to jail.
So I went to one of the protests yesterday. I went to the one in North Hollywood, California, and I socially distanced. It was a nice big park, and I was able to keep my distance while trying to maintain my safety because we filmed this show together, and it would be bad if one of us got the virus. But it was a wonderful protest. It was peaceful. They were passing basically the speaking stick around, and everyone was getting to say their words. And then about 10 minutes before the 6 p.m. curfew yesterday, they didn't do anything, but it was intimidating that like 3 cop cars just pulled into the park and were sitting behind everyone. So they were like, all right, guys, everyone go home, get some rest, come back. We can do this again tomorrow. No one wants to break the curfew. It was a very peaceful demonstration.
And that's how the majority of the protests have gone, or at least tried to go. Yes. And we will get into that in a minute. But look, there's not a lot to laugh at in the world right now. But damn it, we have got to at least try to laugh at something.
Yeah.
And we've got to do it together.
That means you can laugh along with us.
While we didn't expect anything hilarious to come up as a result of this past week and a half or so, what is time? The world, and specifically our great city, was gifted a truly incredible display of angry and justified, yet uplifting and funny civil disobedience in the form of a live town hall forum hosted by the City of Los Angeles Police Commission this week. So the meeting, which was open to the public, and they encouraged people to call in and air their grievances. It was the first virtual town hall type meeting since the protests began, and it could not have come at a better time because just one day before this meeting took place, Los Angeles Police Chief Michael Moore publicly stated, without even a trace of shame, that the death of George Floyd was on the hands of the protesters as much as it was on the hands of those officers, referring specifically to the 4 officers that were actually legitimately, directly involved in the death of George Floyd and are now being charged with this death. Also, charges got bumped up and they...
Second degree,
and they finally charged the other 3 officers.
Yes.
It's a step. It's, at this point, too little too late. If you had done that when this all started, that might have helped. But
we said on the last video, and I mean it again, if these protests had not happened, do you think any of these officers would be where they are right now?
Absolutely not. And you've got about 1,000 other instances of this exact thing happening as proof of that.
Anyways, the statement that the police chief, Michael Moore, made, it obviously pissed off anyone that even held a shred of decency in their life. And although he was quick to apologize for his statement, saying that he merely misspoke, the damage was already done, and the outrage spilled over into the next day's virtual meeting where citizens were able to call in and let them know just how they felt about his and the rest of the people involved's specific type of leadership, all directly to their faces. And we should say that it was an 8-hour meeting.
It was long.
And about 7 hours and 30 minutes of it was very important, poignant, very important comments from the community.
People making a strong case and not fucking around.
And literally airing their grievances, and it was very, very important to watch. But you also had a handful of people who, while saying the right things and airing their grievances, did it in a way that was quite funny because of how aggressive it was.
Hilariously uncivil.
Civil disobedience. And the part that's fun to laugh at is that they just had to sit there and take it.
Yeah.
And it was actually kind of sad because they really didn't react that much, but you just know that they're sitting there going, God damn it, which kind of felt good.
I feel like a lot of police are realizing for the first time in their lives that most people don't like the cops.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean people don't like me?
Like, it is not a profession that, like, even people who don't have that strong of an opinion on it, most people, their interactions with police have been negative experiences for them, and they have negative feelings about police as a profession.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of these people, they're just learning this for the first time.
Yeah, so it's good to see. And we would be doing a major disservice to merely quote what was said. So instead, we'll just show you the actual video and audio from the meeting, some of the best parts, so that you can see for yourself. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure they can't copyright a public virtual town hall.
Nah.
And this video is not sponsored anyway, so fuck it. Here's some clips.
Great. First things first, Chief Moore, you gotta do a better job of pretending you care about this, man. I've been watching you roll your eyes and offer half-hearted smirks, acting like a teenager who's falling asleep in detention. Are you not aware of the war crimes your department's doing, or are you just that impatient to go do more of them? I see a lot of you, particularly sober-off, only react when folks use profanity in their remarks. If you think curse words are bad, wait until you hear about these 600-plus murders your department has committed over the last 7 years. As long as Moore's out here equating peaceful protesters with cops who murder black people, you all could pretend to be as angry about murder as the F word, okay, kids? I know you're all having a rough day, what with everyone here telling you you're bad at your jobs. Have you considered being good at your jobs? If not, you could find new jobs in retail or restaurants. I know how desperate Garcetti is to get Angelinos consuming again during a global pandemic. Where were the curfews then? By the way, weird. Chief Moore is morally obligated to resign. Mikey, I know you said you didn't mean protesters are as much to blame for George Floyd's murder as his murderers. That's a lie. It is what you meant, and we all know it. Mikey's made it clear in his racist actions and empty platitudes that he doesn't care about the well-being of his constituents. He loves to tear gas them, blind them, force them indoors with curfews that are announced only a half hour before they take effect, and racially profile as he does so. Don't think I didn't hear about how yesterday you sent out an alert in English saying curfew started at 5 p.m. and sent out an alert right after in Spanish saying it started at 6. What's up with that, bud? All your cute Zoom background photos of the city won't trick us into thinking you care about anyone but yourselves and what's in your pockets. To close with a James Cameron quote, cops think of all non-cops as less than they are. Stupid, weak, and evil. They dehumanize the people they are sworn to protect and desensitize themselves in order to do that job. That's you pigs to a T. Black Lives Matter, act like it. Happy Tuesday.
I just want to say congratulations. You're all getting famous for being faces of corruption and evil. You cowards are using chemical weapons on peaceful protesters during a pandemic. You make me fucking sick. Especially you, Steve and Eileen, you repugnant little babies. I'm so sick of seeing you two messing with your phones and squirming this entire time. You are doubly disgusting. You work for us. Don't you fucking forget it ever again. And Mike Moore, you need to be fired immediately. But hey, little guy, you can always learn how to code. Black Lives Matter.
My name is Sasha Nonis Barnes. I'm a white Jewish man who lives in Koreatown. I want to first say to the white people who have just realized that this is how the police act, shame on you for not listening to black people who have been yelling about this for decades and centuries. Hi, Chief Moore. I'm talking specifically to you, but I'm directing my comments towards the commission as well. I would normally start by saying all due respect, but respect is something that's not given, it's earned. We pay your officers to respect the community, but they need to earn that respect in return. You've sat here with your mask on, fiddling around on your desk, and you ask for respect. Your words ring hollow. Actions speak 10 times louder, and your actions were to shoot innocent, peaceful protesters who were exercising their First Amendment right to free speech and peaceable assembly with rubber bullets, which are metal bullets coated in rubber and can kill a human being at close range, and tear gas, and as well attack them with batons. And you think that's okay. The narrative is that police are allowed to act this way when they get scared. If you scare so easily, why are you police? You claim to want to listen, but in your actions, you refuse. You want to change this system. Start by resigning in shame and follow it by doing everything that Reggie just asked you to do. Who has been out with the brooms and the tools cleaning up the mess? The citizens. The police do not care about the people. And as a message for Eric Garcetti, your political career is over. The people will not forget that you turned a blind eye to militarized police shooting and gassing their own citizens. The LAPD is akin to the Gestapo and needs to be defunded and dismantled. And to the commission, upgrade your Zoom account with all that fucking money. I yield my time.
Black Lives Matter, defund the police. I find it disgusting that the LAPD is slaughtering peaceful protesters on the street. I had 2 friends go to the protest in Beverly Hills a couple days ago, and the protest was peaceful until the police showed up with their excessive violent force, shooting rubber bullets and throwing tear gas. Is this what you think of protecting and serving? Because I think it's bullshit. Fuck you, Michael Moore. I refuse to call you an officer or a chief because you don't deserve those titles. You are a disgrace. Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
Ah, you do love to see it, don't you?
I absolutely love this specific style of civil disobedience.
Yeah, I mean, if the suck on my dick and choke on it, I yield my time, fuck you guy runs for office,
I'm there.
I will gladly cast my ballot in his name because incredible. That's the kind of leadership I like.
If there weren't so many very inspiring children and elderly people at the protest yesterday, it would have been lovely to have a sign that says "Suck my dick and choke on it, cops."
Yeah. Meanwhile, though, the LA passed a new budget. It just happened to be budget time. They passed a new budget this week that gave more than half of the entire city budget to the LAPD. That's like $3 billion. You see these graphs, and it's just like public schools, healthcare, and LAPD. And people are upset about that.
I can't directly quote it, but they basically talk about that on this week's episode of Chapo Trap House, where they're just like, odd that this is the only social service that rich people care about.
Yeah.
It's the one that's
weird.
Fully funded,
and
no questions asked.
A lot of people have pointed out, they're like, wow, these cops, they have, each of them's carrying $10,000 worth of gear. They're all well supplied. And there was a while there where our hospitals
wearing trash bags.
Were wearing fucking trash bags. And
like file folders to block things in front of their faces.
Yeah, it's just, it's interesting, the priorities that our local governments make, even here in the People's Republic of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I think people underestimate just like how much police departments have just an absolute stranglehold on local governments, no matter how liberal those governments might be.
The past week has been I assume would be an eye-opening experience for anyone who didn't realize that the police were militarized.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen what's been happening on the streets?
Anyways, a big problem that we and a lot of people have been noticing is that the American news media, both national and local, probably especially local, they've done a fucking terrible job actually documenting what's been going on. Most of the press about these demonstrations has focused on the looting, as if the protests and the looting are just one and the same, when the reality is that the vast overwhelming majority of protesters are out there peacefully protesting. Most protesters agree that the looting is counterproductive, and they're right because the media is focusing on that instead of on the just stunning, overwhelming amount of police brutality happening out there across the country.
Yeah, in several cases, members of the media have themselves been subjected to police brutality, often on live camera feeds. But for the most part, they haven't really looked beyond that. And the truth is that the news media and law enforcement have a relationship where in a lot of ways they're the unofficial public relations arm of the police. And it's in their best interest to maintain friendly relations with police departments. And that often results in the news media telling stories entirely from the perspective of police. And because of this, a lot of more casual media consumers out there have gotten a totally warped picture of what's been going on. The old famous phrase, if it bleeds, it leads, makes a lot of sense here because showing a peaceful protest and just documenting just that on the news is, to a crazy news producer's point of view, boring.
Yeah.
So, you can tell right away where the priorities lay when the person reporting and interviewing people on the streets asks them specifically about the looting and stealing instead of why they're out protesting. So it becomes pretty obvious when they start talking to people what their priorities are. But anyways, we're going to try and do our best to show some examples of what's really happening. In the vast majority of cases where a peaceful protest turned into a riot, it was started by the police just pepper spraying and shooting tear gas into peaceful crowds.
Yeah, I would say, just aside from the first couple nights in Minneapolis, which like that was like legitimate like rioting, looting, it was chaos.
Yes.
Aside from that, like in pretty much every case, it's been the looting or at least the chaos has been directly instigated
a result
by
of
the
police aggression.
They want to escalate things to that because then they get permission to beat people up.
Yeah.
Anyways, the biggest and dumbest example of this sort of thing was in Washington, D.C. on Monday when our big wet president decided for some reason to crawl out of his panic bunker and go have his picture taken, awkwardly holding a Bible in front of some boarded up church.
Did you see the update about the bunker where he said that he was just merely inspecting the bunker?
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, I found out there was a bunker and I said, I gotta see it.
Just let me look at it. But obviously, as an alpha male, I don't need this bunker.
Nobody's been down there since Reagan, and I gotta tell you, there was pornography all over the walls. It was a wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
A time capsule of the 80s.
So yeah, they made a whole video out of this, and it is the weirdest fucking thing. It's just the president like walking out, and
the video is straight up propaganda.
Yeah, it's standing in front of a church, holding this Bible, and just like he did it. No one thought he could do it, but he held the Bible.
Yeah, their fully produced video is insane compared to what actually happened.
It's like North Korean propaganda.
Yeah.
But yeah, this photo op, it was preceded by riot cops just blindly firing tear gas into the crowd outside the White House. No warning. Just, all right, the president's coming out, so we're going to just trample anyone even close by.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
At the very least, they could make the tear gas smoke red, white, and blue.
Yeah, come on.
I do it with a little style in it.
That was the biggest one of just like, okay.
Great.
Peaceful protest.
Thanks.
And all of a sudden, the cops just open up on the crowd, and that's when the chaos starts.
Surely no one will find out what actually happened based on the thousands of people recording at all points in time.
Yeah.
They will only watch the thing that our media team has produced.
I mean, that's what they're banking on.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that's exactly how it's working.
Sure.
But anyway, here's a few more examples of that sort of same chain of events where the riots are clearly being started by cops who just randomly decide to start firing on protesters who pose absolutely no danger to them.
Here's La Mesa, California, with cops firing into a crowd gathered peacefully.
Yeah, you better back up and fucking release that dude.
Here's Huntington Beach, where just a few weeks back, in this exact spot, the cops let a bunch of right-wing nutjobs swarm the area to protest the lockdown. No riot cops then, but this time, everyone here, they're getting on the ground, they're being compliant, they got the arms behind their back, and the cops, they still just start shooting, despite everyone, following the rules. What do you want us to do?
Here's San Luis Obispo, California. The crowd is just chanting like 100 feet away from the nearest cop. And then they all get tear gassed out of nowhere without any warning.
This is what democracy looks like.
Here's Walnut Creek, California, where, same shit.
Shit! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Run, 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 run!
Here's San Diego, again, same shit, peaceful protest, good vibes, then boom! The police try and do actually start a riot.
Here's Columbus. The protesters literally sitting on a sidewalk. Cops walk right up to them, tear gas them, taking a peaceful situation, turning it into a violent situation.
Now, I'm not sure where this one happened, but it starts with a police officer kneeling, or police officers kneeling, seemingly as a sign that they want peace just as much as everyone else there. But as soon as protesters get slightly closer to take a look, boom, tear gas and rubber bullets. They got you.
And this has been one of the things that's fucking annoyed the shit out of me the last couple days.
The solidarity play?
You see all these examples of cops, being friendly, taking a knee with protesters, but in every single case, the people who are actually there, they're like commenting below. They're like, yeah, 45 minutes later, they started shooting at us.
There was one in
Stop falling for this shit.
There was another one in Los Angeles where like they did like a photo op where they were buying ice cream from a street vendor, and then like within the time span of like an hour or two, they were tasing someone repeatedly on the street.
Yeah. Stop falling for this. It's the same people who are like, oh, we need George W. Bush right now more than ever. It's
No, we don't. Go away, George W. Bush.
Stop. No.
I will say that at the protest that I was at, the fire department went by with the sirens hanging out the windows, cheering and honking their horns. Everyone loved it, applauded them, thanked them very much.
If you want a career in public safety and service, buddy, the fire department is always taking applications.
I did see a good post on social media that said, you ever wonder why there was no songs written that said, fuck the fire department?
Yeah.
So there you go.
And there you go. So the term for what we've shown you in these clips and what you'll see in the rest of the clips that we're going to show you is what's called a police riot. It's a term that was coined in a study following the 1968 Democratic National Convention riots in Chicago, and it describes unrestrained and indiscriminate violence that police inflict upon people who haven't broken any laws or made threats against them. And one of the reasons that they love doing this is because they know that a ton of people are just going to see the footage that starts once the rubber bullets and gas grenades are already flying. And those people are just they're going to assume that the cops must have had a good reason.
Yeah.
The crowd must have instigated this.
I remember when I stayed out past curfew when I was a kid, when I got home, my dad shot me directly in the face with a rubber bullet. It's just what happens.
It's what happens.
Yeah.
I mean,
you pay the price.
Shouldn't have been out so late.
Yeah, he broke my rib cage with a fist and a baton, and he shot me in the face.
Shot me with a grenade in the face.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I mean, there's honestly just so much footage of cops responding to these police brutality protests with police brutality that it is kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It's
been, what, like 6 days?
Yeah.
It's been like a week, maybe less?
A very odd choice to respond to a police brutality protest with police brutality.
Yeah, I mean, they're essentially saying, "Oh, you're calling us monsters?" Yes, we are.
We'll show you.
How dare you say that, though?
Here's San Antonio cops just walking up to a guy and shooting him twice.
Oh, you motherfucker! I had a fucking cigarette. Yo. Fuck. Motherfucker, shoot. Look at that, motherfucker. You fucking shot me, motherfucker. Ah, you motherfucker. Fucking bitch.
Yeah, real cool. Drawing some blood there. Great. Here's Boston cops just beating the absolute shit out of a random dude who just happened to be crossing the street there.
Hey!
Here's an NYC protester with his arms raised, having his mask ripped off so a cop can pepper spray him point blank in the face.
Here's police in Raleigh shooting a protester in the back as he's walking away from them. Real classy.
Mm-hmm. Here's some Des Moines cops pepper spraying apartment residents who are just trying to take the elevator to get their apartments.
This one's fucking insane. Like, there's no there's no excuse for this at all. Not even the flimsiest fucking excuse. These people are trying to get into their house, like they're being told to do, because there's a curfew.
Yeah, there was the one where I think it was, I don't know if it was a woman or man getting tased, but the residents filming on their balconies, cops just like immediately just pointing pepper ball guns at them.
It's indefensible.
Yeah. Here's some Riverside cops destroying some random car that they're just walking past.
Yeah, just
why not? It sounds cool when you break glass.
There's so many examples of like property damage being done by the cops.
Yeah.
Here's the LAPD enforcing surprise curfew because, like we explained, it's just like, hey, be home in 20 minutes or we're gonna beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Here's them enforcing that by just dragging random people out of cars, arresting them, impounding the cars.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
What? The rules.
The rules.
As every bootlicker on Twitter says.
Shouldn't have been out past 5 p.m.
Yeah. Here's cops in Walnut Creek, California, in some big armored tank car telling a guy standing in front of them, if you do not move, you will be dead.
Whoa, what the fuck?
Here's two guys, not sure where, I think it might be downtown LA, but they're getting shot just for simply standing in the street after curfew.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not moving. They're not moving. Oh, they got shot. They got shot. They got shot. They got shot.
Here's cops in Grand Rapids, Michigan, pepper spraying a dude in the face and then immediately firing a tear gas grenade at his head.
Yeah, just point blank. Boom. A lot of people are getting hit in the head with these less than lethal rounds and grenades and shit, and they're losing eyes. People with like permanent damage.
Don't worry though, because Eric Garcetti said today that he told the cops not to use as much of the rubber bullets.
I don't believe you. Here's Atlanta cops just pulling random people out of a random car to tase them and also like bash the car's windows. Meanwhile, the white people in the car directly in front of that car, they managed to get away clean. They're not being bothered. They're even smiling while all this is happening because they seem to be they're unaware this is going on behind them, and they're just like, hey, news cameras, but it's just such a stark contrast here.
Yeah.
Come to me. Come to me right now. This woman just got tased. Come to me right now. Come to me right now.
Now this one's too long to show in its entirety, but basically a guy in Charleston kneeling with the rest of the protesters makes a big emotional speech about how he doesn't hate the police and just wants the violence to stop. And after a minute or so, the cops pounce on him to arrest him. For what exactly, we don't know.
Yeah, just, I don't know. Like, to all the people who are like, look, I support peaceful protests. Like, the cops don't fucking care how peaceful the protests are. They want them to be violent protests. You take a knee, you're unarmed, you pose no threat, you just talk to them, and they'll fucking arrest you. Mm-hmm. There's no way around it. Here's a woman, this is pretty gruesome, just FYI. A woman in San Diego, her son was apparently killed by police just a few months ago. She got shot in the head with a so-called less than lethal round, and it is like hanging out of her skull. Yeah. She's apparently alive. I mean, probably gonna be a while before she's at 100%, but this is fucking horrifying. Like this is like footage you'd see out of, one of those other so-called shithole countries where.
Yeah, as Trump would say, shithole countries. Yeah. But yeah, this is all happening right here in the United States of America, where for a long time people just had this fantastical facade hanging in front of them, and you couldn't see through it. Now here's one that's almost as funny as it is completely depressing. The local Fox 11 reporters are posted up at this pawn shop in Van Nuys where the owners just managed to successfully scare off some looters. They wait for the cops, who immediately head straight towards the pawn shop owners to arrest them, despite everyone there yelling at them that these are the store owners who called the cops in the first place. Even the news reporters.
The news lady's like, that's not them. They're not the ones who should be arrested.
The crazy part is in the video, you can see the officer seemingly acknowledge that he heard what they said, and nope. Anyways.
Yeah, just they just show up and they rush towards the darkest skinned person they can spot.
Yeah, it would have only been actually funny if if Yakety Sax was playing.
Yeah.
Because of the way the car pulls in and then immediately they rush to it.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Honestly, there's so much out there. This is really just scratching the surface. Like I was getting disoriented going through all this.
Jordan Uhl's been doing a good job of doing the compilation videos.
Yeah, a guy named Greg Doucette, who's actually a Republican. He's been doing a great job documenting examples of police brutality in a Twitter thread that's also been compiled into a Google Doc because the thread itself is 250 posts long right now.
Yeah.
There's a great 2020 police brutality Twitter account. There's a subreddit called 2020 police brutality, and journalist Jordan Uhl, technically a friend of the show because we're all Twitter mutuals, but we've never had him on.
I played Fortnite with him.
Yeah, he's done a really great job compiling a lot of these posts into single supercut videos for Twitter. Yeah. He's on his fourth one at this point, definitely not the last. So let's just now, without any commentary, play you some of the clips that he compiled that we haven't already talked about.
Yeah.
plenty of time here.
Are you okay?
I'm getting shot! I'm getting...
Katie, are you okay?
Get the fuck on! Get the fuck on!
Don't touch me either.
Fuck you do again. What the fuck you gonna do about it?
I'm leaving.
He's not doing anything. He's on protest.
Get the fuck on! Go! Get the fuck on! Get out of here! Fucking leave it!
This is proof. Tonight. Let's go. Hey, whoa.
Please just fucking attack him.
Whoa, what the hell?
You're not doing anything, you fucking bitch! Not doing anything! What the fuck? Stop it! Fuck you, you fucking pig! Hey! Chill that shit out, nigga! Get out! Get out! Oh, y'all, get the fuck out! the drill.
Anyways, sorry that we have to show you these clips, but people really need to understand how bad it is out there right now. And I know this isn't your typical Tech News Day, and I don't think we're even going to call it that because it doesn't matter. But Phil, he still wanted to do a segment, which is great, and it's pretty relevant to the rest of what we've been talking about. So listen to Phil, please.
Yeah, let's check in with Phil.
A lot going on, a lot of stuff. Not doing any bits today. Just going to get into everything that would fall into my usual kind of purview of what I think I know about, and I'll try to tell you as much as I possibly can about what you can do. So, Attorney General William Barr, he's in charge of the U.S. Department of Justice, and he's been extra busy the past few days. If you saw that photo of Trump holding the Bible, well, moments prior to the photo op, protesters were in that area. William Barr ordered the protesters to be removed. So, following their orders, the police used tear gas as they advanced with riot shields. So if this instance is any indicator of Barr's attitude toward protesters, he's going to use his power to fulfill his agenda. So that was Barr reacting to a situation, one thing. Now his agency has reacted to the protest as a whole and have granted the DEA power to investigate those protesting George Floyd's death. BuzzFeed News got their hands on a 2-page memo with all the details, and a couple things really stuck out to me. The DEA can conduct covert surveillance, and the Attorney General may authorize any officer or employee of the DEA to perform such other law enforcement duties as the Attorney General may designate. Let's start there, the second thing. The DOJ basically has a blank check to order the DEA to carry out such other law enforcement duties. What does that mean? I think it means literally whatever he wants. Whatever he wants done that he can legally justify. You know, the law's a little malleable right now, so that's scary. But the first thing, that one scares me a little bit more. Conduct covert surveillance. What does that mean? Well, it could mean one of many, many bad things. Mass scale facial recognition for crowds, that's been seen both in the UK and the US. This could mean, so let's say you're being caught on camera and it could implicate you in any crimes committed in that area that were seen on camera near you, location-wise. It could mean that protesters out after curfew and caught on camera could be arrested in their homes later. They don't even have to catch you. They can see you, have the computer ID you, and then show up the next day, the next week. You know, it's not really a perfect system because in the UK in 2018, the false positive rate was as high as 92%. So imagine how chaotic things are now. Imagine that with computers making mistakes. So, okay, Phil, let's say that facial recognition tech is too inaccurate or inconvenient and they just want to, you know, fully put their power out there. So they could tweak the tech that's used to track citizens during the pandemic, which is still going on. Oh, the pandemic, I almost forgot. So the data that they were using to see if people were like staying in their homes, that was largely anonymous and just, they were tracking how much people were moving from where they stayed. But a government agency could either order mobile telecoms to hand over location data for individuals, and that would give the government the godlike power of associating a name to a cell phone, or I don't know, 500 to 500,000 cell phones in an area at a protest. Or they could exploit the contact tracing feature that came out that half the people were like, that might not work, or I'm freaked out, and some people were like, please, if I go to the store, I want to know if I came in contact with someone who was, you know, tested positive for the coronavirus. Well, if people have this enabled, the government could theoretically tap into this one. But for real, like, none of these are sci-fi paranoia. If you look at 2011's Occupy Wall Street protests, they were targeted by the FBI. The Department of Homeland Security had a plan to use surveillance in 2015's Ferguson protests, and people were monitored in 2016 Freddie Gray protests. So, I mean, the stuff I mentioned, it's purely speculation by me. I mean, it's educated speculation based on the stuff the government's done in the past decade. But they honestly could have newer, more advanced, and more invasive ways of tracking people. But I will stop speculating and creating potential fear-mongering because I don't think you need any more opinions. You need information. So what can you do? Okay, here's where I'm useful. There's a lot of long-read guides and quick cheat sheets on what you can do before you leave the house to protest. So no matter how small the gathering, no matter how peaceful you plan to be, start here, your phone. So turn off any kind of biometric face or thumb unlocking on your phone and put on a strong passcode. Not a PIN number, numbers and letters passcode. Yes, that's way less convenient for what most people have on their phone, but think about if it's a pain in the ass for you to get in, it's more likely to be a pain in the ass for them to try to get in because the police can legally make you use your face or fingerprint biometric data to open a phone. And a passcode with numbers and letters is just much stronger than a 6-digit PIN. Another thing you can do is put your phone in airplane mode to avoid being tracked. It's not about just turning off the location tracking on your phone or GPS because people can be triangulated via cell tower or via Wi-Fi network. So if you walk past a shop and they have Wi-Fi, there's a record of your phone ID being there. Or the police or law enforcement may employ stingray devices, which are these boxes that basically act as a fake cell tower, and they get everything around them to latch on. And they go, oh, this is a cell tower. And they just scrape all the device IDs, and then people can be placed in certain places and tracked. But a way of making sure none of these hit you is you can toggle airplane mode, which is another way that you can save some battery. Or if you're paranoid or just want to like really save battery, you can turn your phone off. Hey, there you go. If you are running low on battery, make sure you bring a battery to charge your phone, before you leave the house if you have one, because your phone can drain while taking long videos, being in crowded areas, if there's poor cell service. Which brings us to being prepared for bad cell service. We've all been to a concert, a sporting event, or just some places don't have cell service. Well, that can drain your battery, so this is a way of keeping that your phone alive. And also figure out a meeting place for your party that you're there with in case one or all of you don't have a usable phone. Maybe it's broken, maybe it's confiscated, or maybe it's just dead. Now, this is for the next level. People, if you are serious, you could bring a burner phone. You can get a little flip phone, or if you have a backup phone, or swap out a SIM card or something. That way none of your data or identity is on the device. And if you're a brain genius, which I am not, you can actually learn your friends' phone numbers so they're not like in the phone. That might be asking too much. I literally know 2 phone numbers that aren't mine, so your mileage may vary. Maybe you can still learn new things. I can't. There's a million other things you can do. I'm not going to sit here and list all of them. Gizmodo has a great guide. A lot of other people have been posting really great infographics that just have like, hey, here's 9 things to remember. You can share this with your friends or use it as a checklist before you leave the house, which could be cool. So lastly, encryption. So the reason communications aren't necessarily safe when you're out is texts and calls can be intercepted because they're not encrypted by default. And the same thing is true as if you're at home or mobily using Zoom, it's not encrypted. Because if you're organizing a protest or talking about your plans to attend a protest or anything else, if you're using the free version of Zoom, the FBI and police can have access to that because Zoom is kind of giving them a back door. Their rationale is it's to help stop illegal crime because illegal criminals won't pay for the version of Zoom, whatever. But hey, Signal. Now there's an app that's encrypted by default. It lets you, anonymously talk with your people. Look right on their website. Edward Snowden's quoted right there saying he uses it every day, and I know a lot of news organizations take anonymous tips via Signal, so if it's good enough for them, it should be good enough for you. So for real, whatever you do, whether you're protesting, marching, making signs, donating, or just at home freaking out because it feels like the world's collapsing around you, just be safe, try to take care of yourself. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm sure the guys, Ricky and Elliot, do as well, because there's so much other stuff you can do and be watching. But thank you and stay safe.
All right, well, thanks, Phil. And this show's just not, it's becoming less and less fun to do with each passing day of the past however many years.
We'll have fun someday soon. Don't worry about that. The 2 updates, all 4 of the officers have been charged. The one was bumped up to 2nd-degree murder. So progress there. But again, like we said, like would that have happened without the outrage of the entire country and a lot of other countries around the world? And the other one was, we should have brought it up earlier, but did you see the New York Post article about the like Rolex shop?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, because the cops, they're just like
in the article, it was like, oh, all the inventory had been removed, but the whole article was about how the cops had said
the headline
$2 million
like,
worth of watches had been stolen.
This is what I'm saying with like the media's relationship to the police. Like, they kind of, I mean, and you can't blame them entirely, but it's like a lot of the information they're reporting is literally just 100% what the police tell them.
Yeah.
And guys, sometimes the police lie. And yeah, that one was hilarious because it was like,
literally refuted the claim.
Steal like $2.5 million worth of Rolexes from this Rolex shop. And the Rolex shop's like, no, we don't keep the watches just like out there. They're in the vault.
There were broken glass.
Broke
that was
glass.
it. Yeah. Anyways, that's it for now. I mean, it doesn't really look like any of this is going away anytime soon.
Nope.
So stay safe out there, folks. Also, by the way, in addition to our fundraising that we have a link below and we're putting money towards, and we hope that we can hit our goal for the Bail Project. Our friends over at the Going in Raw Wrestling podcast, Steve and Larson, who you've seen before on our live streams, and if you know them from Machinima or whatever, they're doing a live stream on Friday. It's a charity stream on their Twitch channel, and they're also going to be raising money for the Bail Project as well. So we'll leave a link in the description to their tweet that has all of the information, when it starts, what's benefiting, the links for the charity, and all of that. We'll leave a link in the description below. And and in addition to the link that we have for our fundraising initiative as well. So thank you for taking some time out of your day to watch our video. I know it's not our typical fare, and but you know, we wanted to say something and kind of document what's been going on. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you, I don't know when, but whenever there's something more to talk about.
We'll meet again.
Yes.
Don't know where. Don't know where.
Oh, really quick, hold on. RTJ 4 was dropped early today,
nice.
And it is absolutely fantastic. And it's free, obviously. If you have Spotify or whatever. But I think they released download links on their site for free as well. So make sure you go listen to the new Run the Jewels album, RTJ 4, because makes a lot of sense right now. There's a lot of songs on there where I was listening to the lyrics and I was like, he could have written this week, and it would have been just as shocking right now. But I think LP even confirmed on Twitter, he's like, no, Killer Mike wrote that verse in November of 2019, and it sounds like he wrote it today.
Damn.
So check out that album. It's out now for free, and check out all of our links below. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.